Most dog owners assume one type of food is just better across the board. Turns out that's not how it works at all. The right answer depends entirely on your dog's age, health, teeth, and your day-to-day life. I'm Stephen Whitlow, and I've spent the past 2 decades working with hundreds of dogs, and I'm seeing healthy, thriving animals on both dry and wet food when it's chosen correctly.
You're listening to the Pet Parent Podcast. Quick heads up, the research, data, and everything in this script is written and verified by real people, but the voice you're hearing right now is AI generated. Just wanted to be upfront about that. If you've been listening for a while, thank you, really. And if you're new here, welcome aboard. We drop new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, covering all things pet care, from food and health to training and gear. Let's get into today's episode.
So let's get right into the real differences here. Neither dry nor wet dog food is universally better. The smartest choice depends on your specific dog and your specific situation. This comparison will break down what actually matters so you can make an informed decision. First, let's talk about the quick comparison between dry and wet. I'm not going to read you a whole table, but here's what you need to know. Dry kibble has about 6 to 10% water content, while wet food sits at 75 to 85%. That's a massive difference. Calorie density is way higher in dry food, around 300 to 500 calories per cup, compared to 70 to 150 in a 3-ounce can of wet food. Cost per serving runs about $1 to $3 per pound for dry, but $2 to $8 per pound for wet when you account for equivalent nutrition. Shelf life once you open it? Dry food lasts 4 to 6 weeks in a sealed container. Wet food, you've got 2 to 3 days in the fridge. Dry food provides mild dental benefits through abrasive action on teeth. Wet food gives you nothing there. But palatability? Wet food wins hands down, with stronger aroma and texture. Now, let's talk about moisture content and hydration needs. Here's what most dog owners don't realize. The moisture difference between dry and wet isn't just about thirst. It directly affects how much your dog needs to drink throughout the day, and it impacts everything from kidney function to digestion. Dry kibble contains roughly 6 to 10% moisture by weight. That means your dog needs to drink significantly more water throughout the day to properly digest the food and maintain hydration. I've seen this become a real issue with senior dogs who don't naturally drink enough, and with working dogs in hot climates who can't always access water on demand. Wet food, on the other hand, sits at about 75 to 85% moisture content. That's similar to the prey animals dogs would eat in the wild. This built-in hydration makes wet food particularly valuable for dogs with kidney disease, chronic dehydration issues, or those recovering from illness. The American Kennel Club notes that adequate hydration supports joint health, temperature regulation, and nutrient transport throughout the body. For puppies under 6 months, the higher moisture content in wet food can be gentler on developing digestive systems, though many puppies do perfectly fine on quality kibbles soaked with warm water. Senior dogs over 7 years often benefit from wet food because aging kidneys process hydration less efficiently. The practical reality? If your dog drinks plenty of water naturally and has no health issues, dry food works fine. But if you're constantly trying to get your dog to drink more, or if your vet mentions concerns about hydration or kidney values, wet food's built-in moisture becomes a significant advantage. You can also split the difference. Many dogs do great on a mix of both food types to balance hydration with other benefits. Moving on to nutritional density and calorie management. When comparing dry and wet dog food nutritionally, you're not comparing apples to apples. You're comparing concentrated nutrition to diluted nutrition. This matters enormously for portion control and weight management. A single cup of dry kibble typically delivers 300 to 500 calories, depending on the formula. That same volume of wet food may be 150 to 200 calories at most. This isn't a quality issue, it's simple math. Wet food is mostly water. so you need to feed much larger volumes to meet your dog's caloric needs. I've worked with plenty of dogs who needed to lose weight, and dry food makes portion control straightforward. You can measure out precise amounts, and even a small breed dog feels satisfied with a reasonable volume of food. With wet food, weight loss becomes trickier because you're feeding smaller portions of an already diluted product, which can leave dogs feeling genuinely hungry. For underweight dogs or picky eaters, though, wet food's palatability advantage becomes crucial. The stronger aroma and softer texture make it irresistible to most dogs, and the lower calorie density means you can feed generous-looking portions without overdoing calories if your dog needs to gain weight gradually. Large breed puppies, over 50 pounds at maturity, need carefully controlled growth rates to prevent developmental orthopedic issues. Quality puppy food formulated for large breeds in dry form makes it easier to measure precise calorie intake. Small breed adults, conversely, often do well on wet food because their tiny stomachs can only hold so much volume. The concentrated flavor keeps them interested in smaller meals. The protein and fat content on the guaranteed analysis panel looks higher in dry food, but that's misleading. Those percentages are calculated on an as-fed basis, including all the water in wet food. When you calculate on a dry matter basis, removing moisture from the equation, quality wet and dry foods often deliver similar actual protein and fat levels. Understanding AAFCO dog food standards helps decode these labels accurately. Let's talk money and logistics, because I've seen plenty of dog owners start with wet food and switch to dry purely for practical reasons. The cost difference between dry and wet isn't as simple as the per-pound price on the package. Dry kibble costs $1 to $3 per pound for quality brands, and because it's calorically dense, a 30-pound bag might last a medium-sized dog 4 to 6 weeks. Wet food runs $2 to $8 per pound, but you need to feed 2 to 3 times the weight to deliver equivalent nutrition. Do the math, and wet food typically costs 2 to 4 times more to feed the same dog for the same period. Storage is where dry food really shines. Keep it in an airtight container in a cool, dry place, and it stays fresh for 4 to 6 weeks after opening the bag. I use large sealed bins with wheels. Easy to move for cleaning, keeps pests out, maintains freshness. Wet food requires refrigeration after opening and needs to be used within 2 to 3 days. Those half-empty cans take up fridge space fast, and most dogs won't eat cold food straight from the refrigerator without warming it slightly. For busy pet parents or those using automatic dog feeders, dry food is the only practical option. Wet food can't sit in a timed feeder. It spoils. If you travel frequently, board your dog, or work long hours, kibble's stability makes life significantly easier. You can pre-portion it, leave it out for reasonable periods without safety concerns, and not worry about refrigeration during transport. That said, the cost premium of wet food might be worth it if your dog has specific health needs. I've watched dogs with advanced kidney disease thrive on wet food when their owners couldn't consistently get them to drink enough water. For those situations, the extra expense isn't a luxury, it's medical support. Many owners also successfully use wet food as a topper or mix-in with dry food, getting palatability benefits without the full cost burden. Here's where things get interesting and where marketing claims often outpace reality. Dry kibble provides mild mechanical cleaning through abrasive contact with teeth, but it's not a substitute for actual dental care. The crunching action of chewing kibble does create some surface abrasion that can help scrape away loose plaque before it mineralizes into tartar. Some prescription dental diets use larger kibble sizes and specific textures designed to force teeth deeper into the piece before it breaks, maximizing this cleaning effect. For dogs who gulp food without much chewing, I'm looking at you, Labrador Retrievers, even this limited benefit mostly disappears. Wet food offers zero mechanical cleaning. It's soft, requires minimal chewing, and can stick to teeth surfaces. Dogs fed exclusively wet food long-term typically accumulate plaque and tartar faster than kibble-fed dogs, increasing the likelihood of periodontal disease without regular dental care. I've seen this pattern repeatedly over 20 years of training dogs. Wet food-only dogs need more frequent professional cleanings. But here's the reality check. Neither food type prevents serious dental disease on its own. The gold standard remains regular toothbrushing, daily is ideal, professional cleanings when your vet recommends them, and appropriate dental chews or toys. If you're feeding wet food for legitimate health reasons, kidney disease, severe dental pain from existing problems, recovery from oral surgery, don't let dental concerns override those priorities. Just commit to more proactive dental care. For senior dogs with existing dental disease, this equation flips. Dogs with painful, loose, or missing teeth often can't comfortably chew dry kibble. Wet food or moistened kibble becomes necessary for basic comfort and nutrition. At that point, professional dental treatment addresses the disease itself, while wet food keeps your dog eating and maintaining weight during recovery. Now let's talk about palatability, picky eaters, and special situations. In 2 decades of dog training, I've worked with every type of eater imaginable, from beagles who inhale anything edible to senior chihuahuas who sniff suspiciously at every meal. When it comes to enticing reluctant eaters, wet food wins decisively. The higher fat content and stronger aroma of wet food trigger dogs' natural feeding responses more effectively than kibble. The soft, varied textures mimic fresh meat more closely than uniform, crunchy kibble. For dogs recovering from illness, stressed dogs in new environments, or naturally picky eaters, wet food often means the difference between eating and not eating. I've used this strategy countless times with rescue dogs. Start with wet food to establish reliable eating habits, then gradually transition to dry food or a mix once the dog feels secure. Puppies transitioning from their mother's milk to solid food often accept wet food more readily initially, though most adapt quickly to quality puppy kibble when introduced properly. For training purposes, dry kibble actually offers advantages. Small pieces work perfectly as training treats. They don't require refrigeration during training sessions, and they're less messy. Wet food is too soft and sticky for practical training use, though some owners freeze small portions as high-value rewards. Dogs with specific health conditions require careful food selection regardless of format. Those diagnosed with food allergies or sensitivities might need grain-free options, limited ingredient diets, or novel protein sources available in both wet and dry formulations. Dogs with diabetes need consistent carbohydrate levels and meal timing. Both formats can work, but you need to carefully check ingredient profiles and work with your vet. Senior dogs often need different nutrition than adults in their prime. Many seniors do best on a combination, primarily senior-specific dry food for dental benefits and cost-effectiveness, with wet food mixed in to boost palatability and hydration as appetite declines with age. So, who should choose dry dog food? Choose dry kibble if your dog is a healthy adult with good dental health, normal hydration habits, and no palatability issues. Dry food also makes sense if you're budget conscious, need feeding flexibility for your schedule, travel regularly with your dog, or use automatic feeders for meal management. Active dogs with high caloric needs benefit from dry food's concentrated nutrition. You can pack adequate calories without feeding enormous volumes. Large breed dogs and those prone to bloat should eat measured meals rather than free feeding, and dry food stability makes scheduled feeding straightforward without waste concerns. If you're training regularly, the convenience of using kibble as training rewards keeps your dog's regular food familiar and maintains consistent nutrition throughout the day. Just account for those training portions in total daily calories. Who should choose wet dog food? Choose wet food if your dog has kidney disease or chronic dehydration issues, dental problems that make chewing painful, or palatability challenges that make maintaining healthy weight difficult. Senior dogs often transition well to wet food as their needs change. Dogs recovering from illness or surgery frequently need the extra hydration and palatability boost wet food provides. The strong aroma can help stimulate appetite when dogs feel unwell, and the soft texture works for dogs with oral pain or reduced chewing ability. If your vet recommends increased water intake for any reason, urinary tract issues, kidney values, or chronic constipation, wet food delivers consistent hydration with every meal, rather than relying on your dog's natural drinking habits. The higher cost and storage requirements become worthwhile investments in your dog's health for these specific situations. Let me answer some frequently asked questions. Can I mix dry dog food and wet dog food together for my dog? Yes, you can absolutely mix dry and wet dog food together. Many dogs thrive on combination feeding that balances the benefits of both formats. When mixing, reduce the portions of each type proportionally to maintain appropriate total daily calories and ensure both foods meet AAFCO nutritional standards for your dog's life stage. This approach provides the hydration benefits and palatability of wet food while keeping costs manageable and maintaining some dental cleaning effects from the kibble. Wet dog food better than dry food for senior dogs? Wet dog food often works better for senior dogs because it addresses multiple age-related challenges simultaneously. The higher moisture content supports aging kidneys. The soft texture accommodates dental problems or reduced chewing strength, and the stronger aroma stimulates appetite that typically declines with age. However, healthy seniors with good teeth and adequate water intake can continue thriving on quality dry food. The best choice depends on your individual senior dog's health status, dental condition, and specific nutritional needs. Consult your veterinarian if your older dog shows signs of decreased appetite, weight loss, or increased thirst. Does dry dog food really clean my dog's teeth better than wet food? Dry dog food provides mild mechanical cleaning through abrasive contact when dogs chew kibble, which can help reduce plaque buildup compared to wet food that offers no cleaning action. But this effect is limited and not a substitute for proper dental care like regular toothbrushing and professional cleanings. The dental benefits of kibble are most pronounced in dogs who actually chew their food thoroughly rather than gulping it whole, and specialized dental diet formulas with specific kibble sizes and textures provide more cleaning action than standard kibble. Neither food type prevents serious periodontal disease on its own, so regardless of which format you feed, commit to proactive dental hygiene, including brushing and veterinary dental exams. Bottom line, the dry versus wet decision isn't about finding a universal winner. It's about matching food format to your specific dog's needs, health status, and your practical realities. I've watched thousands of dogs thrive on dry food, wet food, and combinations of both over my 20 years working with dogs. Here's what I tell every dog owner. Start with your dog's health requirements, then factor in your budget and lifestyle. A healthy adult dog with normal hydration does great on quality dry food. A senior with kidney concerns needs wet food's built-in moisture. A picky eater might need wet food's palatability, while a dog prone to dental issues benefits from kibble's mechanical cleaning. Your best move right now? Evaluate your dog honestly. How's their water intake? Any dental concerns? Age-related issues? Budget constraints? Then choose the format that addresses your dog's biggest needs. You can always adjust as those needs change over time. That's actually smart dog ownership, not indecision. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Pet Parent Podcast. New episodes come out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so there's always something new coming your way. If you got something out of this episode, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave us a 5-star rating and a review. It genuinely helps other pet parents find the show, and it makes a difference. And go ahead and subscribe or follow so you get notified the second a new episode drops. Appreciate you being here. Talk soon.